Alexander Carver. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody beat me. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me.
It's Teofimo Lopez, 11-0, 9 KOs. The best to do it right now in the game. Mr. Takeover. Shout out to BN Boxing News.
Hey, there's Junior. I've been welterweight champion of the world. Everybody go follow BN Boxing News.
Oh man, awesome fight. I have to admit, very awesome fight. It wasn't the outcome that I was looking for, but it was a great fight. And let me read this interesting article from ESPN, and then I'll tell you my take on the particular fight, okay? I find it's kind of interesting. Let me just go ahead and read it to you. Oleksandr Usyk shook up the heavyweight division to become the two-weight world champion with a stunning win over Anthony Joshua for the WBA, IBF, and WBO world heavyweight titles on Saturday. The Ukrainian dominated much of the fight, rocking Joshua in the third round and the seventh round, and won by the judges' scorecard of 117, 112, 116, 112, and 115, 113. Must have had a 10-8 round somewhere in there. At 117, 112. Usyk improved to 19-0 with 13 knockouts, while Joshua, 24-2 and 22 knockouts, tasted defeat in London for the first time in his career in front of a home crowd of 68,000 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Joshua, the naturally bigger man who has lost the titles for a second time in 2 years, is now counting the considerable cost of another shock defeat that ends his hope in fighting English rival Tyson Fury for all 4 heavyweight titles next year. That's all they talk about. You cannot count your eggs before it's hatched. Everybody tell you that. I think he was focusing on Tyson Fury so much to where he overlooked the smaller man who was the better boxer that came in and actually proved himself. You know, you cannot count your eggs before they hatch. Me personally, I had to fight 115, 113, 116, 112 is actually good. It's a stretch, but it's good. I think Joshua won at least 5 rounds, man. You got to give it. He won at least 5 rounds. Great boxing, man. Great boxing by Oleksandr Usyk. Great boxing. Joshua needs to come out there and basically make a stance. And what I mean by that, he should have came out there and showed Oleksandr Usyk his power. Instead, Oleksandr Usyk done the opposite, came out there and showed Joshua what he can do, and Joshua on the back foot. And for the most of the fight, Joshua stood in the middle of the ring, and Oleksandr Usyk showed tremendous footwork. I mean, he was circling him. He was doing that Ukraine shit, the same shit that Lomachenko be doing. He was just circling left to right, and he was basically taking Anthony Joshua out of his game. He was taking him out of his game. I mean, it was a hell of a game plan. I mean, especially with the feints. Every time he feint, Anthony Joshua had to reset. And that right there killed him. I mean, Anthony Joshua was not ready for the feints. He was not ready to have to move that way. And, you know, when you have to move like that, a big man can get tired. And you can see that towards the end of the fight. I say the championship round, you can see what Joshua was just real tired. He was just real freaking tired. I mean, I was actually going for Joshua to win. And I thought Joshua would pull it off, but he didn't pull it off. That's why I say hats off to Oleksandr Usyk. Great job, man. I mean, it was a great job. I can't take nothing from him. I mean, he shocked the heavyweight division. I mean, everything, like I said, everything changed. Everything changes because just like the end of the article said, basically Joshua had to win that fight. Tyson Fury had to win his fight. And then those two was going to meet up for a mega fight. Well, it started last night. Okay, Anthony Joshua lost his fight. Tyson Fury will lose his fight. And then, now what? The entire heavyweight division, all plans have been changed. So we all know that. I mean, we all know that Anthony Joshua is going to rematch. He's going to pull a rematch unless somebody advise him not to and tell him, look, just sit it out. And believe it or not, knowing Anthony Joshua, he's going to go for it to see what he can do. But let's say he loses, because that fight's supposed to happen in the first quarter of next year, possibly by February. So after that fight happens in February, let's just say Joshua loses again. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder happens next week or in a couple of weeks. And Deontay Wilder defeats Tyson Fury. That sets up Oleksandr Usyk and Deontay Wilder. How do we see that fight, world? Boxing world, how do we see that fight? Those two dudes are on the same size. And the new Deontay Wilder is looks like a hell of a boxer. We're going to see in a couple of weeks. What he's made of and what he can do. I think he's going to, I don't want to say shock the world, because I think we all we all already expect what we're going to probably see. Deontay Wilder knocking Tyson Fury out. I think we already expect that to happen. So, but I have to give it to Oleksandr Usyk. Great footwork. I like the feints. It took Anthony Joshua clearly off his game plan. Later during the fight, when Anthony Joshua got the hurt eye, I just didn't see where he had the willpower to go. I don't see where his mental pushed him to go further. You have to have the mental fortitude to keep going, to keep striving after something like an injury. You have to, basically, just to me, I didn't see where he wanted to go any further, man. And believe it or not, personally, that fight was pretty close, 8th, 9th round. It was pretty close. Anthony Joshua was winning at the 9th round. It wasn't until the later round, the 10th, 11th, 12th, where I think Oleksandr Usyk took over. And Oleksandr Usyk had once again had Anthony Joshua on bending knees in the 12th round. Just had him on weak knees, getting ready to, fold him. I just think that Anthony Joshua folded last 3 rounds. I don't know if he ran out of gas. He's kind of blaming on his eye, not being able to see, having to use one eye. But those are the things that happen during fights that shows what kind of fighter you are if you're able to push through those things, like fighting with one hand, fighting with one eye. That right there shows that you're a different type of fighter if you're able to do those things. Make sure you comment below, guys. Make sure you comment below. I know y'all see my Saints jersey on. Y'all already know it's football Sunday. Every football Sunday, this is what I wear. Every football Sunday. I always got to represent for the home team. But back to this boxing shit. Just took him out of his game. Took him out of his game plan. But you know what? back to the drawing board. He's gonna go back at it, and let's see what happens. You know, I just like, it was a great fight. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, and I can't wait till early part of next year, because you never know what will happen. It's boxing. You never know what will happen. And definitely, like I said, I take my hats off to both fighters because they fought, man. At the end of the day, they both showed up. They both fought. So I took my hat off to both fighters. You know, now my eyesight is on Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. That's where I'm at right now. And let's make these fights happen. Basically, I think the heavyweight division, man, they got some up and coming fighters coming up in the heavyweight division, and these giants that we have right now, man, belts switching hands like that. We don't know what the hell's about to happen next, but look, I love it. I love every bit of it. You know, we just got to keep on supporting our fighters, and let's see what happens. Even though Anthony Joshua, you know, so I chose to win, you know, I can clearly say that Oleksandr Usyk won. It wasn't a draw. It wasn't a robbery. He lost, man. He lost. And believe it or not, I'm going for Anthony Joshua for the second fight again, also for the rematch. You know, that's just who I want to win. You know, nothing against Oleksandr Usyk. I just like Anthony Joshua in that fight. You know, my heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder. That's my heavyweight champion. I go for him over everybody. My welterweight champion is Errol Spence. Okay. My 140, right, junior welterweight, Regis Prograis. My 135, right, is Devin Haney. So as you can see, my 130 is Shakur Stevenson. My 126 is no other than my boy, the Russell brother. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. In every division, you got to have your fighter. You got to have your fighter, and that's just what it is. But great fighting. Again, I love those things. Tremendous footwork. Joshua being that awkward move and can't even move, stiff ass fighter, that came back to haunt him. Smaller man moving around him, tired him out. He couldn't even keep up with that smaller man. That shit came back to haunt him. All that stiff shit, big muscle dude, that came back to haunt him. Got to work on his footwork, got to work on his movements, and got to know what to do when somebody's fainting. Got to know how to, hey man, that's your homework. You know, go back to the drawing board, fix it, and then come back, man, and let's have a better fight. You know what I'm saying? And overall, like I said, it was a great fight. He just let it go when he wasn't supposed to. Those championship rounds prove and show and tell who you are, who you truly are. If you're a real champion or if you're not. Those championship rounds, what they call championship rounds, it further shows who you are if you are a real champion. And in that fight, Joshua didn't show that he was the real champion because he didn't show up when he was supposed to show up. He didn't fight through adversity. Yes, he didn't quit. But when I say fight through adversity, meaning, all right, I got a fucked up eye. Fuck this shit. All or nothing. These last 3 rounds, I'm going ham. I'm going to give it all I got. He just didn't show that. He didn't show that extra. He didn't show that second gear. You know, he didn't show that. He didn't show that he had that mental fortitude to push through and do what he's supposed to do. You know, and Usyk looked like he dug in his bag of tools and pulled out all the rest of his tools and went. You know, and by the way, if you hadn't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button. And always thank you for supporting my channel. All you got to do to support my channel is hit the like button, man. So all you got to do is support my channel. I say support my channel, hit the like button and tune in, you know. But at the end of the day, great fighting. I loved it. Heavyweight division is back. And you already know it. we just gotta hang on in there and see what it is. But at the end of the day, we have a new unified heavyweight champion, and his name is Oleksandr Usyk. This nigga being Boxing News. Peace. Peace, and we out of here.